Kalyani sat by the window, her gaze lost in the bustling street below. Her room, situated at the front of the house, had become her world. A world confined to four walls, a single bed, and the incessant ticking of the old clock on the wall. It was a comfortable room filled with sunlight and the faint scent of sandalwood. Yet for Kalyani, it felt more like a gilded cage, a physical representation of her isolation. Her daughter Priya had moved her into this room a few months ago. With a growing family and a demanding job, Priya had convinced herself that this was the best arrangement. The maid, Lakshmi, came twice a day to cook, clean, and help Kalyani with her medication. All her physical needs were met, yet Kalyani felt a growing void within her. The silence in the room was deafening. It was broken only by the clatter of dishes when Lakshmi arrived, or the muffled sounds of Priya's family from the other side of the house. Kalyani yearned for the sound of a human voice, for someone to share her thoughts with, to laugh with, to simply acknowledge her presence. Lakshmi was a kind girl, but their interactions were limited to basic necessities. "Did you take your medicine, Amma?" she would ask, her tone respectful yet distant. Kalyani would nod, her heart sinking a little more each time. She was grateful for Lakshmi's care, but craved something more, something that transcended the mundane routines of daily life. Priya was a loving daughter, always ensuring Kalyani had everything she needed. She visited her mother every day, albeit briefly, her conversations revolving around Kalyani's health and well-being. "How are you feeling today, Amma?" she would ask, her voice laced with concern. "Is there anything you need?" Kalyani would shake her head, her throat constricting with unspoken words. She saw the tiredness in Priya's eyes, the constant worry lines etched on her forehead. She knew her daughter was juggling the demands of work and family, and she didn't want to burden her further. Yet, she couldn't shake off the feeling that she was slowly fading into the background, becoming an afterthought in her own daughter's life. International Mother's Day dawned bright and sunny. Kalyani watched from her window as families strolled by, their laughter echoing in the air. A pang of sadness shot through her as she thought of Priya, who was attending a Mother's Day function at her club. Later that day, when the doctor came for his weekly visit, Kalyani surprised him with an unusual request. "Doctor," she began hesitantly, "can you get me one of those machines? The ones that talk?" The doctor looked at her, puzzled. "You mean an Alexa?" he asked. Kalyani nodded, her eyes shining with an unexpected hope. "I hear people talking to them. Maybe it could talk to me too." Meanwhile, Priya stood on a stage adorned with flowers and accolades. She was the guest of honor, invited to speak about the challenges and joys of motherhood. Her voice, clear and confident, resonated through the hall as she spoke passionately about the need to care for the elderly, to address their loneliness and isolation. The irony of the situation was lost on her as she stood miles away from her own mother, who sat alone in her room, longing for someone to